Hey guys, welcome to another live video for the Career and Life Coaching Group. Today we are going to talk about stress relief. I know this is something that a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to because it's generally something that's passive, something that happens in the background before you realize that it's actually affecting you. Generally, by the time that you realize that you are stressed, it's already too late, not too late, but it's already affecting you to a level that you are noticing. And at that point, it generally can affect you, of course, physically, emotionally, morally, and it can also affect your day-to-day life. So today I figured I'll take a few minutes and talk about some effective ways to relieve stress. There's a whole laundry list of things that you can do to relieve stress. But I'm just going to talk about some of the ones that I think are the most effective ones that you can use to relieve stress. So let's jump right into it. The stress, well, one thing I should mention is that there are different types of stress, right? So the one we're going to talk about is how to address stress that generally happens in your life and on an ongoing basis. The other types of stress, I'll just mention a couple of them, are you could have acute stress, which is stress that happens to you when you are experiencing a sudden jolt in adrenaline, whether it's caused by fear or someone cuts you off in traffic, and all of a sudden you feel very stressed and there's adrenaline rushing through your body. So that's acute stress, and so that's a different type of stress than what we're going to be talking about here. So there are, of course, other types of stress, stress that don't last too long, that are caused by different stressors, things that cause you to be on edge, things that cause you to feel uncomfortable, so that kind of stuff. But what we're going to be talking about today is what I would call chronic stress. So something that continually happens in your life on a daily basis or on a regular basis. Now, what are some of the things that you can do to relieve stress? The first one, this is one of my favorites, and because it's one of the easiest ones too, is to exercise regularly. Now, exercising can mean different things for different people. Sometimes when someone says you should exercise regularly, people immediately think that they mean you should go in the gym and start pumping some iron and getting some muscles. No, there are different ways of exercising, and it could be as simple as just walking for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whether it's around your block, around your building, or just actually going to the mall and just walking around can be a source of exercise. It's anything that gets your body moving, anything that gets your heart rate going up in a good way. Okay, so if you take the stairs, if you work in a building where you take the elevator every day, and you decide to, for example, take the stairs every once in a while, if it's doable. Of course, if you work on the 17th floor of a building, that's not something that you could do. However, if you work and you take the elevators to the second floor or even the third floor, there may be a chance there where you could take the stairs. So that's one way to exercise. Of course, the reason why exercising is important is it does something to your body, and research has shown that when you exercise, your brain is releasing these very healthy chemicals that actually gives you a boost of not just a sense of accomplishment, but a boost in terms of how you feel, confidence. And if you notice, after you exercise, generally you feel very good. You are very motivated. So exercise is a good thing to do. Another way to combat stress is to actually maintain a healthy diet. Now, for many of us, this is a challenge because we are busy in our lives. We work, we come home, we have family or we have friends, and we have activities, and in some cases school. Perhaps you have 2 jobs, and that makes it very hard to maintain a healthy diet because you seemingly don't have a lot of time to dedicate to what you eat. But really, you could make it a priority in that you could try and figure out some healthy items that you can eat. Maybe it may be as simple as adding more fruits in your diet if you like fruits, or the recommendation generally is to eat. I think it's something like 5 servings of fruits or vegetables a day. Honestly, that's really difficult for a lot of people. So what you could do is you could vary. If you think about all the things that you eat and drink, you could try to incorporate those fruits and vegetables or those healthy meals into what you eat. Or maybe when you go to the grocery store, just make a choice to go with something with even less sodium or less calories, or and make sure you're incorporating in your diet foods that give you a good source of protein. But in my personal experience, I grew up in West Africa, where one good rule of thumb for me was really you ate when you were hungry, and I never eat to the point that I'm feeling like I'm about to explode. I always leave a little bit of space in my stomach. We call it the 1/3 rule, where I will eat until I feel like I'm almost about to get full, and I will stop. And generally, by the time you get up and walk away from the meal and drink some water or whatever it is that you would drink, you feel full. So another important piece that I would mention when it comes to diet and eating is try not to eat too fast. I know this is generally has to do with your habit and how you eat. When you eat faster, you are getting ahead of your digestive system. You're eating so fast that you're not giving your body enough time to digest. And so that's generally how people would eat something, that a portion that they felt or portions that they felt was not a lot, but then because they're eating so fast, they end up being really, really full because you didn't give your stomach time to actually digest the food and react to how much food was going in your stomach. And along along the lines of healthy diets, and another thing is sleep. This is still the number 2 second tip that you can use along with eating, is making sure that you get good sleep, making sure that you get enough sleep. One thing that I started doing about a few months back was I started to kind of pay attention to my sleeping habits in terms of I'm not letting it rule my life. I'm just kind of paying attention. This is a Fitbit, and it tracks how many hours of sleep I'm getting throughout the week. And I'm averaging about 6.5 hours or so. But there are times where I will go under the 6-hour threshold, which is not the best for me. So I generally try to stay between 6 and 7 hours of sleep. And when I get closer to 7, I feel really, really good. I feel motivated. I feel sharper. I can think about things quicker. I am a lot more productive. And this is no secret. If you go to bed at 2 a.m. and you wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., you did not get enough sleep, and you can feel it because you get to work or you get to where you're going, and you just feel tired and you feel like you want to eat sugary stuff. So when you don't get enough sleep, it pushes you towards your body's looking to burn more energy. So it's going to push you towards eating foods, and generally foods that have sugar. So if you ever find yourself eating a lot of sugary foods or just eating in general on a given day after you wake up, it's because maybe you didn't get enough sleep. And sleep is also extremely important in that it allows your brain, and there's recent research that actually has confirmed this. While we are sleeping, let me explain this differently. While you are awake, your body is burning off a lot of fat, and it's to turn it into energy. Your body is burning off all these chemicals. There's a lot of chemical reactions happening, and your body is creating toxins. If you think about it, when you burn fire, you are creating some some chemicals that are not necessarily healthy. So your body kind of does the same thing. When you burn fat, when you create energy by burning sugar, you are, in a sense, creating toxins that are flowing in your body. The way to get rid of those toxins is to sleep. When you're sleeping, your brain is releasing some, for lack of a better term, I'll say some cleaning agents that actually clean off the toxins off of your body and your brain. So, and the more it cleans off, meaning the longer you sleep, the better job that your brain does at cleaning off those toxins. So sleep is extremely important. Another thing is tip number 3 is it's very simple actually, and almost everyone has this. It's make sure you create some good relationships, some good friendships. So make good friends, socialize with people, and make sure you don't just make friends on Facebook. A lot of us have hundreds and hundreds of friends, and if you think about it, how many of those friends are truly friends, right? I know sometimes the restriction is because of the distance. Some of us live in the East Coast, some on the West Coast, some live in the Middle East, like myself, some live down south. So Facebook makes it easier, or social media in general makes it easier for us to kind of interact and talk to each other. But you also need to make friends locally where you live, people that you can physically call up and say, hey, let's meet up for coffee, let's meet up for maybe a night out, let's do something fun. So those relationships actually have a psychological effect on your body that allows you to feel happier. So you don't feel like you have a hole in your life, if you will. So make sure you create those relationships, create those friendships, but mostly make sure you actually connect with those people. Because if something were to come up in your life and you were able to just call someone and talk to them, it would make you feel a lot better than posting a text on Facebook or a message on Facebook and having people click like and react to the post. It's not the same. There's something about human interaction that nothing will be able to replace in terms of social media. So that's why those connections are really important in your life, and they're really important in relieving stress. And now tip number 4 is you find a way to relax or to meditate or to pray. And I am making this a little bit ambiguous because some people like to pray, some people don't, some people like to meditate, some people don't. But do something that brings down your heart rate down, something that calms you down. And it could be even, maybe it's yoga. If it's yoga, great, do yoga. Some people like to cook. I like to cook. And when I'm cooking, I'm in a zone where I'm not thinking about anything but my cooking. I am relaxed. And that helps a lot in relieving stress because your brain is almost on idle. Your thoughts are on idle. You're not stressing yourself by making decisions in your thoughts. You are just being. You're just standing there and being and enjoying life, period. Now, another important thing about this particular tip is that generally when you feel like there's a hole in your life or there's no sense of purpose, that you feel like a robot, that you're waking up, you're going to work, you're repeating the same things, you don't seem to be making any progress, perhaps. Those thoughts are best fought off or kept at bay if you have a sense of belief or a sense of calm and relaxation and meditation. Again, whatever that is for you. For some of us, it's going to church. For some of us, it's going to the mosque. For some of us, it's going to the synagogue. For some of us, it's going to temple. And again, for some of us, it's not, you don't believe. But if you don't believe, that's fine. Some people don't believe in God. Some people believe in God. If you find yourself that you don't believe in religion, find something that makes you stop and connect with your inner self, with your thoughts, and just think about life in a less complicated way. Just think about a sense something that gives you a sense of purpose. Maybe that doesn't work for you, and if it doesn't, you can think about doing volunteer activities, for example. And so in that case, when you volunteer to help others, it gives you a sense of purpose. That could be your meditation, right? So, but try to do it on a regular basis. I would say at least daily when it comes to meditation and prayer. Those can help. So that's very important because it will balance out the physical things, the physical stress that happens to you. And there's really no substitute for this meditation, prayer, slash just stopping and relaxing and smelling the flowers, if you will. Really, that's what it kind of comes down to. Right, okay, and finally, the last one is tip number 5 is you listen to music, right? So, and you can generalize this tip. Do something that you enjoy doing that's fun. Okay, maybe it's dancing, taking ballroom dancing classes or swing dancing classes or hip hop dancing classes. Something that just is fun, and when you do it, you enjoy it, and it's not a competition. There is no pressure to do well or not. Something that just kind of lets you do your thing, enjoy yourself. So this is important because quite often in life we do a lot of activities because we have to, job, right? Taking care of certain obligations, extracurricular activities, taking care of family members, things that society is forcing upon us to do. So it's good sometimes to say, you know what, I'm going to do something that I like doing. Maybe it's listening to music or playing music. Maybe it's, again, ballroom dancing or hand gliding, whatever it is. Find that one thing, whether it's a hobby or just one activity that you do. Maybe you like going to museums and staring at paintings and just being there. Find that one activity that's very easy to do, very accessible, that you can do on a regular basis. So if you combine all of this together, it will really help you fight off stress. And one thing I should mention also is, generally the reason why some of these tips don't work for some people is because we focus too much on things that we don't have control over. So the sun every morning rises in the sky and then sets at night, right? If I were trying to control the sun, my life would be really, really stressful because there's no way I can do that. Now that's a little extreme, but it's a good example of us trying to control things that we can't control. And those things could be in our relationships, at work, in our regular life, in our daily activities. Think about traffic. You're driving in traffic and someone cuts in front of you. I give this example a lot because it's very relevant and it happens to all of us. You can't control what that person just did. But in trying to control that, you start to react. The way you react to what that person did will determine whether you just increase your stress levels or not. So quite often, 9 out of 10 people will honk and they'll get stressed and they'll some people will even actually drive very closely and start tailgating and try to go around. Don't do that. When you do that, you're trying to control something that you don't have control over. What you do have control over is your reaction to what happens to you. So control your reaction. That means you're controlling your stress. That means you're keeping away easy stress to keep away. So there's stress that's difficult to control, and there's stress that's really easy to mitigate. And this is one of them, things that all you have to do is not react to keep stress at bay. So I hope these were helpful tips. I'm going to look to see if I have any questions. It looks like there were some questions submitted previously. Thanks, Sarah, for submitting the questions. I appreciate that. Your question was, what are some good free stress relief techniques? Yeah, I think I touched on those. So if you use some of the techniques that I talked about, that would definitely help. And in terms of free, walking is free, obviously. It doesn't take much really to do to release stress. And if you don't have time to walk, one thing you can do is, I do this, is before going to bed, just do some push-ups. Or if you're sitting in your office and you've been sitting there, set a timer for an hour. After that, get up and and just do some very slight exercise and or walk down the hallway and come back. So those are very simple things. And of course, taking the stairs is a free way to actually relieve stress because it's exercise. What are your favorite way? What is your favorite way to relieve stress? For me, I mentioned it's cooking. I do like to go to the gym and jogging. When I go to the gym, I go to this gym where we run on the treadmill and then we switch to the floor. We do some exercises, then we do some rowing, and I enjoy that kind of exercise. I also enjoy, which I'm not doing a lot of, but I like martial arts. But also my favorite way to relieve stress is to just cook, and of course, when I have the chance, I'm not doing it quite often, which I really should, is I pray, and that helps me relieve stress a lot. Because when I'm praying, for me, it's a connection between myself and directly to God. I'm getting a little way too religious here, but this is a personal question, so that helps a lot. When I'm praying, I feel really relaxed because it gives me a sense of that I am one tiny being, one speck of dirt in this whole universe, and that there's a reason why I'm here, and what I do matters, and my actions can impact other people. And to give you an example is, I think in one of my podcasts I mentioned this, where an individual was considering committing suicide. That day in school, someone passed by and for the first time in a long time was kind to him and kind of helped him pick up his books and tapped him on the back and said, "Hey, how are you doing today, man? Here you go," and helped him. That person's action changed another person's life. So there are things that happen in our lives, decisions that we make that lead us to where we are today. And to me, there's a reason for that. All right. So there's a reason why I got into public speaking. There's a reason why I started a podcast, and I didn't always know those reasons. But to me, if I can help one person do something better or improve their lives, or get a tip from me that helps them with their challenges, to me, that really is the reason why I was doing everything I was doing that led me to this very moment in life. Right. So long answer to your question, but cooking, I would say praying, and of course, if I can, martial arts. So, and I do a lot of writing too. So when I write, that helps me also relieve stress because I'm just focused on creating the story, and not anything else that's around me. Do you consider vacation stress-free or stressful? I consider vacations stress-free, again, because, and this ties into control, letting go of things that you cannot control. When I'm going on vacation, I know for a fact some things will go wrong. I have never gone to a vacation where there wasn't one thing, sometimes really small, but something always goes wrong. And knowing that, you just plan for what you can plan for and let go of what you can't control, right? A vacation is supposed to be relaxing and stress-free, not stressful. If there are things that are causing your vacation to be stressful, identify those things and figure out what you can do to prevent those things from happening on your end, right? If it's something that you cannot control, don't try to control it. Just go with it, okay? If it's generally, a loved one that they're always late, or they tend to forget stuff that was supposed to be for the trip, then plan to actually make a backup plan for those things. So when they happen, you're like, "Oh, I knew it was going to happen. I planned it. No problem. We got it under control." And sometimes things will just go wrong. There's nothing you can do about that. So just focus on yourself, focus on the things that you can control. But again, to answer your question, vacations I consider to be stress-free. So they're supposed to be fun. So anyway, all right, so that's all I had for today. If you have any more questions or any more things or topics that you want me to cover, so feel free to let me know. And I'll try to do another live session next week. I'm not sure on the date yet. I'm on a tight deadline to finish a book that I'm writing, a young adult book. So, but I will certainly try to do one next weekend if all goes well. And So that's about it. And thank you very much for watching, guys, everyone. And we will connect again. And of course, share the group, invite more people so we can do this and have more fun and help more people. Really, again, my goal is to do more of these live sessions to help people learn more and do improve their lives. So, right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sarah, for the comment on the book. So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. We will do this again next time. Thank you. Bye.